Welcome to the channel, and today we'll be adding more new accomplishments to the list of feats Eminem's Kamikaze album has achieved so far. I keep saying so far because expect many more in the future when a new milestone is reached by Kamikaze, and to be honest, I'm quite excited to make these videos based on how much the media has tried their best to put Eminem down for over a decade. I believe around a month ago we released a video about some amazing feats and accomplishments that Eminem's Kamikaze achieved, and we couldn't even make it to 2019 before I had to make another video based on the album's accomplishments so far. Before we dive in deep to explore the new accomplishments of Kamikaze, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And if you know big fans of Eminem out there, steer them to this channel as there's too much Eminem hate out there in mainstream media. Right off the bat, although Eminem's Kamikaze has been eligible for platinum certification in the United States for weeks now, for those who love to see confirmation of facts, I admit I'm like that too. Eminem's Kamikaze finally earned a platinum certification in the United States, and you can now type in Kamikaze on the RIAA's website and see Kamikaze with the shiny platinum certification. But what does this signify really? Well, for starters, Eminem's Kamikaze, based on the RIAA standard for platinum certification, has sold over 1 million equivalent units in the United States for weeks now. Remember in a video we did previously, we explained how the RIAA methods of tracking album sales is quite different from that of SoundScan, the company responsible for providing data to Billboard. So yes, Kamikaze has crossed the million mark weeks ago based on the RIAA standard because they also count video streams and don't care if streams are premium or ad supported. 1,500 audio or video streams count as one album sale according to the RIAA, so if you see a video performing well on YouTube, expect to see the song get a platinum certification in the United States and also contribute to the total album sales. Killshot performed exceptionally also and has been eligible for platinum certification in the United States for a while now, but Eminem is just not like other artists in hip-hop right now. If you don't know this by now, Killshot could have easily been added to Kamikaze as a digital deluxe version or something along those lines, and all its sales would be added to Kamikaze totals, but Eminem is not known to pull such stunts to inflate sales and the number of certified singles of his albums. If you don't believe this is happening, the most recent example of this stunt was Nicki Minaj that added Fifi to her Queen album to improve the performance of the album in general. To be frank though, she needed this, but Eminem doesn't need it, and based on the fact that Travis Scott took a dump on her by gaming the system on her album release week, it is understandable. SoundScan, Billboard's source for song and album sales, currently do not add video streams to album sales in the United States. But if you think Kamikaze only just got a platinum certification because of the RIAA's added video streams, well, here's another one for you. On the 49th week of sales tracking in 2018, Eminem's Kamikaze crossed the million mark with sales of 1,027,000 equivalent units sold. So even excluding video streams, Kamikaze has crossed 1 million equivalent units sold in the United States alone. For reference, Kanye West's RIAA album is at 588,000 equivalent units sold in the United States, although Kanye shot himself in the foot by releasing an album with 7 tracks in the streaming era. So far, I am yet to see Kamikaze going for 69 cents for a limited amount of time to rake up additional album sales or tour tickets being sold bundled with Kamikaze, and it still remains the best-selling hip-hop album of the year. Kamikaze is on track to be the first hip-hop album released in 2018 to achieve a gold status with traditional album sales, which is something many predicted will no longer be possible in 2018 for an hip-hop album, based on the market changes and the rise of music streams. Kamikaze is now closing in on 500,000 pure sales in the United States and has now sold 469,000 albums in the United States so far. It has blown past albums that released months before it, like Scorpion, with sales of 313,000, and remember, this is a double album. It passed Post Malone's Beer Bongs and Bentleys at 348,000, passed J. Cole's K.O.D. at 275,000, and passed Invasion of Privacy at 208,000, and the most surprising of them all, Migos' double album, Culture 2, at 114,000. If you're accustomed to music trends recently, you know that many artists even from the 2000s decade are currently struggling to adjust to the music streaming era, and this is sad because many talented artists from that decade or decades before released quality projects recently, and many of them were thrown under the bus and failed to leave a mark because they didn't have an audience on streaming platforms. Well, Eminem can't relate to this, and despite being an artist from the late 90s, Eminem is still a force to reckon with in terms of streams. On the biggest streaming platform like YouTube, Eminem won the streaming race years ago and is the biggest rapper on YouTube by miles with 35 million subscribers on his official YouTube channel and 26 million on his Vivo channel. No other rapper even comes close to these figures, but let's talk about a newer platform that only became mainstream just a few years ago, like Spotify. Artists from his era may struggle on streaming platforms like Spotify, but not Eminem. Kamikaze joins the club of albums with over 1 billion streams on Spotify, and Kamikaze is now his 6th album on Spotify to achieve this feat. Also remember that this is an album with just 11 songs, which makes this more impressive, and Eminem is now one of the handful of artists with 6 albums that have crossed 1 billion streams on Spotify. There's a reason why hip-hop albums in 2018 are longer than ever, and it's an obvious one. For top artists in the industry, a longer album means more streams. That's why albums with over 16 songs are becoming the norm. If this is the meaning of becoming irrelevant in the music industry, from now on I want to be irrelevant in my chosen field. Now let's talk about something you never hear mainstream media talking about, and the obvious reason for this is because America pretty much controls the mainstream media in the world. But just because they don't talk about things happening outside of America doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it on ET Lifestyle. This is the beauty of YouTube. You search for the content that suits you rather than sit in front of a TV and let the media decide for you. Let's talk about Kamikaze sales outside of the United States and reveal some juicy facts about Kamikaze that should keep things interesting. The United States is not the world. It is the biggest consumer of entertainment in the world, but there are millions of music fans outside America, and Kamikaze is already the biggest hip-hop album of the year outside the United States regardless of your chosen metric. Pure album sales, check. Equivalent album sales, check, and we'll be revealing some interesting facts about Kamikaze's performance outside the United States. For one, if you've been following Eminem's music, by now you should know that Eminem is a worldwide artist and not just a big fish in the United States. Mostly, which is the case with his previous albums. Selling 10 million in the United States will usually translate to selling an additional 15 to 20 million units outside the United States for Eminem, and he's the only hip-hop artist to ever accomplish such sales ratios between the United States and the rest of the world. And the same applies to Revival and even most recently Kamikaze. Outside the United States, no other rapper even comes close to Eminem, even in this era, but media journalists will make you believe Eminem is irrelevant. But outside the United States, it's not even a contest. Eminem's figures outside the United States compared to other rappers is like a game between the Golden State Warriors versus a high school female basketball team as far as the discussion is about sales outside the United States. As of the week ending 8th of December, tracked sales of Eminem's Kamikaze outside the United States stood at nearly 1 million equivalent units sold. And you know how we do it on ET Lifestyle. It's time to compare this performance with other hip-hop albums that released before and after Kamikaze in 2018. Post Malone's Beer Bongs and Bentleys has performed exceptionally in the United States, and outside the United States it has also performed exceptionally, but still falls short of Eminem's Kamikaze figures outside the United States. The album released in April 2018, months before Kamikaze, and has sold 861,000 outside the United States, while Kamikaze is already on the verge of 1 million sold outside the United States in much less time. Beer Bongs and Bentleys is one of the best performers, and would have been the best-selling hip-hop album of the year outside the United States if Kamikaze did not release. Drake's Scorpion has managed to sell 413,000 equivalent units outside the United States, which means Kamikaze has doubled Drake's double album Scorpion already, with nearly 200,000 additional sales to spare. This is the same case for most hip-hop albums that released months before Kamikaze, and even Culture 2 by Migos, one of the biggest hip-hop albums of the year, still got outsold multiple times by Kamikaze. Culture 2 has sold 378,000 equivalent units outside the United States. I'd probably do a video about hip-hop album sales outside the United States in the future to show you guys a clearer picture of how these albums perform outside the United States, and a video like this will definitely show you artists that can be described as big fish in the pond. Do you guys still remember Eminem's flop album that released just 1 year ago? Yes, Eminem's Revival album. Even Kamikaze will need over a month or two of sales outside the United States to outsell Revival that has now sold over 1.2 million equivalent units outside the United States. And if you want to use the argument that of course Revival is going to sell more than newer hip-hop albums because it is 1 year old, you need to learn more about projections. As it stands now, based on the sales curve of most of these albums, only Beer Bongs and Bentleys by Post Malone may have a shot at reaching Revival sales figures outside the United States, so throw that argument out of the window right now. Makes you wonder if Gucci Mane knows that 1 + 1 is equal to 2, because if he knew basic mathematics, he'll know better than to say who still listens to Eminem. This is the guy with only 2 platinum certifications to his name, both of which are songs he had to feature Drake and Migos to achieve. Kamikaze crossed 1 billion streams on Spotify, earned a platinum certification in the United States, became the best-selling hip-hop album of the year in the United States, outsold all hip-hop albums that released before and after outside the United States, and crossed 2 million equivalent sales worldwide. And if you enjoy the content of this channel, consider donating to our PayPal at the link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, leave your thoughts in the comment section below and check out our other videos. Checking out our videos regularly is more than enough support if you can't donate to the channel.